Hi guys, this is Gerald Wessels, and we have been looking at a series I've entitled 30 Real Estate Videos in 30 Days. And today we're going to be dealing with the subject of finding the right mortgage person or mortgage company for your loan. Now, you can only imagine that this is an incredibly important topic. In fact, it's so important I thought about reading my video from a script or using a teleprompter this morning. I'm not going to do that, but every word is vitally important. And so I hope that if you don't watch any of the other videos, you will watch this one in its entirety. Stay tuned as we look at this very important subject together. Well, for this video and this video alone, I made up a word. The word that I made up, maybe somebody has used it before, but I couldn't find it, at least online, is the word pre-collusion. Now, you can look on Wikipedia and you can find pre-collision, but we're dealing with pre-collusion. And so what I mean by pre-collusion, well, what I'm saying is, I am going to probably, if you use me as your realtor, suggest 2 or 3 different mortgage people, and I am going to do it with the intensity and the focus of being to the point of pre-collusion. Now, what do we mean? Of course, collusion is a bad word. We don't want people to think that we are colluding or we are using different companies because we receive a kickback. In fact, it's so funny, one of the guys that I use quite often with my loans, I have a little joke, and I tell people, he has not so much as even bought me a drink. And so I want to keep it that way. However, there is an intensity or a desire, or you're going to see that most seasoned, at least seasoned real estate agents are going to push you to the point of you thinking they might be colluding with this person because it is so important. Now, I want you to remember that, generally if there are special conditions, of course we can work with about any loan person there is. But if you will stay tuned to the very end of this video, you're going to see why it is so important to listen to your real estate agent on why they use certain people. Now, I want to share with you 5 reasons or 5 reasons why it counts to use a particular group of mortgage people. The first point that I want to bring to you is experience or / professionalism counts. There was a joke. I was in the ministry for 25 years. And there was a joke in the ministry when I got a little bit older that everybody wants a 30-year-old pastor, with a wife and 2.53 kids with 30 years of experience. And of course, the old joke is that just didn't exist. There is something to be said for having a person who is doing your mortgage work for this very important investment to have a lot of experience. Namely because there's going to be some objections, there's going to be some problems. Anybody can do a simple mortgage, but what is going to happen when there is an objection? I've always enjoyed learning from Zig Ziglar, and Zig Ziglar says that sales begins when the objections begin. In other words, if you can't deal with the obstacles or the objections, then you really don't have any reason to be in the business. You need to have somebody in your corner that has dealt with all kinds of obstacles and have still been able to get the mortgage through. Number 2, personalities count. Personalities count. When you come in and you use me as a buyer's agent, most generally I'm going to recommend 2 or 3 different loan people to you. Certainly I have my favorites, but I'm going to recommend 2 or 3 because I never know how personalities are going to gel between you and a particular mortgage person. It's just amazing to me that And it's just like with real estate agents. There are some people that use a certain real estate agent because they like their personality. I mean, we know in sales that people typically work with people they know, like, and trust. Well, the like is a big thing. And so, needless to say, as you deal with these different mortgage people, you're going to find some that, you would just rather work with because they seem to be somebody that you could really get along with. And so the qualifications might be very similar, but you really do just like working with them. Number 3, accessibility counts. Accessibility counts. Now, what do I mean by accessibility? Well, I just want you to know that through the mortgage process, generally, I don't know anything about your financial dealings. All I basically deal with is whether or not you're able to get the loan. There is a certain level of privacy between you and your mortgage people. However, what I mean by accessibility is I need to be able to get hold of those mortgage people on a regular basis, and they need to be able to get hold of me. And we're working with each other through that 30 to 45 days of getting this loan approved. I'll just tell you a secret. There are some companies that will not talk to me one time between the offer and the close. They just don't want to deal with the real estate agent, and it makes my job very difficult. So when I'm dealing with accessibility, just know that I don't want to know anything about your financial deals. In fact, I will never even know what your Social Security number is. It's not my business. My business is on the real estate end, but I like a mortgage person that is accessible. Number 4, relationships count. Well, what I mean by that is just simply when you have worked with certain mortgage people time and time again, there is a relationship that is built, and along with relationships comes trust. I won't lie about it. I trust mortgage people that have the ability, seemingly, to be able to save a deal. Now, what I mean by save a deal, well, sometimes you have 2 or 3 obstacles at about the same time, and I like to use mortgage people who I have seen save a deal when there seems to be insurmountable obstacles. That trust, those relationships really do count with me, and I can transfer that trust to you as you're dealing with them. And then finally, I say it this way, fairness counts. When I've worked with different people over the years, I begin to see if they have really given my clients great rates, great customer service. They're just fair. They're just fair. It's in every industry, there are people that have character and you can build trust, and they do their business correctly. And unfortunately, there's some that don't. And so with me, at least, I want to get you a good deal, but fairness really counts. Now, let me just share in closing why this is so important to your real estate agent that you're working with. Well, some of you are going to say, well, I can see it makes your life easier, and quite honestly, it does. When I have somebody that has all of these different items in their repertoire, my goodness, it makes my life so much easier. But here's the thing that you should really lean in and hear. The people who aren't some of these things lose the deal. Now, just imagine that. You've paid $500 or $600 maybe for the inspection. You've spent maybe $400 or $500 on getting the appraisal, and then the deal falls through. I'm sure you don't want to lose $1,000 on your deal because your deal didn't go through because of some problem with your mortgage. So it is vitally important to me and to you that you have somebody who has all of these qualifications that I have just mentioned. Now, in closing, I want to remind you that if you have questions about any of this, and let me just tell you as an aside, There are several more videos that are going to come along in line with this. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of conventional loans, the pros and cons of VA loans, the pros and cons of FHA loans, and the pros and cons of paying cash for a house. But if you have a question about any of this, most generally I won't know the answer because I keep myself out of the mortgage business because it's changing so quickly. But text me and I will get the answer for you. Secondly, I want to remind you that none of this is to be construed as legal advice. When you have a question, go to your real estate agent or your mortgage person or a real estate attorney and get the answers from them. I want to remind you also that I help people buy, sell, invest in residential and commercial real estate, and I literally refer people all around the world. And I will see you when the next real estate video is produced.